For nearly 3 years, I followed every self-improvement routine I could find. Vision boards on my wall, affirmations every morning, alarms ringing at 5 a.m. because successful people supposedly wake up early. I believed if I pushed hard enough, my life would finally change. But despite all that effort, almost nothing truly shifted. Sure, small improvements happened here and there, but the deeper structure of my life stayed exactly the same. It felt like pushing against a heavy wall. For a moment it would move slightly, but the second I stopped pushing, everything snapped back to the way it was before. I thought the problem was me. Maybe I wasn't working hard enough, maybe I didn't believe enough, so I doubled down. More books, more courses, more techniques, but the results were still frustratingly small. Then I came across an idea that changed the way I see reality entirely. What if the problem wasn't that my life needed fixing? What if I had been trying to fix the wrong reality all along? For years, I treated my life like it was a house that needed renovation. I kept repainting the walls, rearranging the furniture, adding decorations, hoping eventually it would feel right. But imagine if there were infinite houses instead. Imagine if the life you truly want already exists somewhere else, fully built, fully furnished, already waiting. In that case, you wouldn't need to rebuild your current house. You would simply need to walk through the right door. Most self-improvement systems focus on improving your current reality. The idea is simple. You are here, you want to be there, and you slowly bridge the gap through time, effort, and discipline. It sounds logical, but what if the reality you're trying so hard to improve was never the right one for you in the first place? Looking back, that's exactly what I was doing. I kept improving habits, routines, and mindset, but the deeper experience of my life never truly changed. It was like rearranging chairs on a sinking ship. The issue wasn't my effort. The issue was the model I was operating from. We're taught that we live in one fixed reality, and our job is simply to make the best of it. But what if that assumption is incomplete? There's another way to look at it. Imagine your current reality is just one channel on an infinite dial. Right now, your awareness is tuned to a specific frequency. That frequency determines the experiences you wake up to every day, the opportunities you see, the people you meet, the situations you encounter. It feels solid because you're fully tuned into it, but countless other frequencies exist at the same time. Each one represents a different reality and a different version of you living a different life. Some of those realities are very similar to the one you're in now. Others are completely different. They all exist simultaneously. You didn't create them with belief, and you don't need to force them into existence. They're already there. The only thing that changes is which one you're tuned into. When you understand this, transformation looks completely different. You're no longer trying to build your dream life piece by piece. Instead, you're learning how to navigate toward a reality where that life already exists. Your job becomes simple: adjust the dial. When I first encountered this idea, I was skeptical. It sounded too strange, almost impossible, but curiosity made me test it quietly. I started with small experiments. Before going to sleep, I would imagine a slightly different version of my day. I would write down detailed descriptions of the life I wanted and sit with those images until they felt natural. Slowly, things began to change, not in dramatic overnight miracles, but subtle shifts. Situations that had been stuck for months suddenly started moving. Conversations appeared exactly when I needed them. People I hadn't heard from in years reached out unexpectedly. At first I called it coincidence, but eventually the pattern became too clear to ignore. Something was responding. A common question comes up when people hear about this idea. If your consciousness shifts to another reality, what happens to the life you leave behind? Do you abandon your responsibilities, your relationships, the people who depend on you? The answer is simpler than it sounds. You don't abandon anything. Think about the choices you made yesterday. Every decision had multiple possibilities. You could have chosen coffee or tea, spoken up or stayed quiet, turned left or turned right. Each possibility created a different version of events. Somewhere, every version played out. You simply experienced one of them. In that sense, you've been shifting between versions of reality your entire life. The changes were just small enough that you didn't notice. Learning to shift consciously simply making bigger changes with intention. But before you can move toward a different reality, you need to answer an important question. What do you actually want? Not what society expects, not what looks impressive, not what seems realistic. What do you truly want? For many people, that question is surprisingly difficult. Years of conditioning bury our real desires beneath expectations from family, culture, and ideas of success. When I first asked myself this honestly, most of my goals disappeared. They weren't really mine. One question helped me uncover the truth. If absolutely anything were possible with no limitations at all, what would I choose? Not what I would work toward, but what I would simply choose. Take your time with that question. The real answer usually appears after the conditioned responses fade. Once you know what you want, the next step is unexpected. You don't chase it. You become the version of yourself who already has it. Most systems say the process goes like this: work hard, achieve success, then become successful. But this approach creates constant resistance because you're always trying to move towards something you don't yet have. Reality shifting works the opposite way. Identity comes first. You begin acting like the version of yourself who already lives that life. I started asking myself one simple question each morning. What would the version of me in my desired reality be doing today? Not huge dramatic actions, just small daily behaviors. If that version reads more, I read. If that version takes care of their body, I do the same. If that version speaks confidently, I practice that. Each action becomes a signal that this identity is already real. Over time, your reality starts aligning with it. There are many techniques people use to enter this process. Some visualize walking down a staircase into relaxation. Others imagine falling through a tunnel or stepping through a door into another world. But the exact technique matters less than the state of mind. First comes relaxation. Your body releases tension and your mind becomes calm. Then comes focus, gently holding the feeling of your desired reality. Finally comes surrender, letting go of the need to force anything. Meditation helps develop this state naturally. As people begin experiencing shifts, they sometimes notice unusual sensations: sudden tiredness, pressure in the head, strange smells or sounds that don't seem to belong to the current environment. Many interpret these as signs that their awareness is adjusting. The key is not to panic. Rest, stay grounded, and allow the experience to unfold. Another powerful tool is scripting. Scripting means writing a detailed description of the reality you want to experience. Your environment, your relationships, your daily life, everything. You're not inventing something from nothing. You're describing a timeline that already exists. The clearer the description, the easier it becomes to connect with it. Over time, the boundary between realities may feel less rigid. Dreams become vivid, opportunities appear unexpectedly, elements from your imagined future begin showing up in your current life. Instead of two separate realities, they begin merging. At first, this can feel strange, but many people interpret it as a sign that alignment is happening. Today, a growing community of millions of people around the world explores these ideas, sharing experiences and techniques. Whether you see it as psychology, consciousness exploration, or something deeper, the core idea remains powerful. You've been shifting your entire life already. Every choice you've ever made moved you from one possible path to another. The difference now is awareness. Instead of drifting through possibilities unconsciously, you begin navigating them intentionally. So the real question isn't whether shifting is possible. The real question is simple: where do you want to go next?